up, you guys? ImNotMagic here, and I have this awesome 3-minute MP7 MOAB on potentially the shittiest map in Call of Duty, so enjoy. Anyways, what I want to talk to you guys about today was my first day of high school. I haven't done my first commentary in about a week, which for you guys is a long ass time. I swear, for YouTube, a week is like a freaking year in real life. So anyways, my first day of high school was honestly, above everything else, just intimidation. Like, that was the one thing. I wasn't that stressed out. I wasn't that anxious. I was just intimidated like a bitch. And I'm not even that, like, honestly, I'm a pretty tall kid for my age. But when you compare a tall freshman to an average senior, just the bulkiness and the facial hair just doesn't compare. So first things first, the scariest moment was the hallways. The hallways were crazy. Now, my school isn't dramatically big. We have about 2,000 kids at our school. And 2,000 in YouTube sense, because everyone puts it in terms of subs, like 2,000 subs, though you're not even the same that many subs. 2,000 people is a shit ton, in my opinion at least. Our school is not that big. Our hallways get crowded easily, and we're an outdoor school, so that's saying a lot. Our hallways are outdoors. There's sidewalks pretty much. They're even bigger than sidewalks, but they get crowded so quickly. There's traffic jams. One fat kid falls, or someone drops their lunch money, and everyone has to stop and wait for them to get off the ground so they can continue moving. It's ridiculous. But when you have these like football linemen just pushing their way through the halls to, you know, assert their dominance over these freshmen, it makes matters just that much worse. Because if you're this puny little freshman and you have this huge bulky lineman on football taking you out, it just ruins your whole high school experience. Now, first impressions in high school are key. You want to have the best first impression possible because you're going to know some of these people for the next 4 years. You want them to think of you as this awesome, badass person, or however you want to take. I wanted to personally be just a chilled out, mellow person, which isn't saying much because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm like in real life anyways. So I didn't really have to try, I didn't really change my personality. You know, I was just myself, which is probably my best advice for you guys. But that being said, high school is probably the best way. If you want to be someone else that you're not, well, that sounds bad. But if you wanted to just change your personality around a little bit, you wanted to have people look at you a little differently. Say you're really into, I don't know, Pokemon, and everyone kind of makes fun of you for it. High school is the time to change that and become this huge, you know, football athlete, famous quarterback star type thing. I don't know. That's probably not likely, so don't get your hopes up. But anyways, so one thing that just threw every freshman off, and even a few juniors, or not juniors but sophomores, even a few juniors actually, was that the seniors came up with this elaborate prank. Now, usually pranks happen on the last day of school or the last day of school for seniors, and they just own the school with it, and it's a funny, awesome thing that everyone enjoys. This was not the case. They did this on the first day of school, which I gotta give them credit for because no one was expecting it. But what they decided to do was switch the numbers of the classrooms. Now, this doesn't sound that bad, but it actually was disastrous. Because for me, I had these classes set up. I had all my classes ready to go. I knew all the room numbers. Only problem was I didn't take any practice runs, which is the #1 thing you want to do once you get your class schedule, is just take a practice run, you know, kind of act out what it's like to go from class to class and just get a sense of where you'll be heading. Because as of right now, for my classes, I have no idea what the room numbers are. All I know is that where the classes are, it's pretty much in my head, who I walk with, what I'm going to do, who I'm going to stop and meet up with, and just everything in between. It's pretty much like I know my class schedule like the back of my hand. This, on the first day of high school, is something that's key to know. I didn't do it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So I was probably going to be late to every class regardless, but the fact that the seniors changed the room numbers just made it that much worse, man. And you guys got to take my word for it. The one thing you don't want to do on the first day is be 10 minutes late to every single class, because then your teachers think you're some, like, person who doesn't care about school, and they're not even going to try to teach you, and it sucks. I was one of those persons who was 10 minutes late. Now, luckily, I wasn't alone because there was kids who missed a whole period just because they had no idea where to go. Like I said, my school is not that big, so for them to miss a whole period is kind of ridiculous. It makes me think that they just kind of gave up looking for their class. They're just like, you know what, I can't find my class, I'm going to go get lunch. And that's pretty much what they did. Now, one thing that everyone wants to do the first day of high school is get a bunch of girls to like them. They want to make a great first impression on a bunch of girls. This was my, like, you know, key at first. Like, this is what I wanted to do at first. But after realizing that senior girls don't really look at freshmen, and that junior girls don't really pay attention to freshmen, and that sophomore girls are sluts but still don't pay attention to freshmen, and that freshman girls are into older guys and don't really pay attention to freshmen, us freshmen were kind of alone, dude. We were kind of the lone wolves, and this was the first year where I didn't actually have a, long, good relationship with a girl. I had a few girlfriends, quote-unquote girlfriends, that lasted about a week and were shitty, but freshman year was the worst year to get girls, guys, and I don't know if the same was for you, but for me, no girl wanted to be with a freshman just because every girl thought freshmen were immature or they were just the bottom of the school, they were the bottom of the food chain, and no one even wanted to be with us. This sucked, and I was not enjoying this part of it at all, especially after getting my hopes up after getting all these awesome girls. And my aunt actually had this talk with me. She straight up tells me, when you go into freshman high school, I tell this to all of your cousins, but no girl's gonna like you, so just give up. She straight up told me to just give up on girls for the first year, and I probably should have focused on that advice. I wouldn't give you guys the same advice because that's kind of negative, but honestly, girls are hard to get as a freshman in high school. Now, that being said, my first day of high school had a ridiculous amount of fights, because I guess everyone had the sense of they wanted to kick like the biggest and baddest person in school. They wanted to kick their ass, and they wanted to assert their dominance and be like the king of the school, which isn't saying much because, like I said, we don't have a big school. No one cares who you're king of. Alright? So there was about 5 or 6 fights, and one of them even involved a stabbing fight, but not a stabbing fight with like knives or anything. It was a stabbing fight with pens. The only problem was one dude had a ballpoint pen and one dude had like one of those sharp pens, and that might not sound that bad, but after this dude had to get surgery on his eye, it was pretty crazy, and both those kids obviously got expelled because that's fucking ridiculous. But it was just, the whole experience was just crazy. I gotta say, guys, out of all of that, my first day of high school wasn't as amazing as I was hoping it to be, but my second day of high school was a lot better. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. Please leave me a like and a comment on what your first day of high school was like, and I'm out, guys. Later.